Hello and good afternoon. Welcome to another show of mortgage financing and being home buyer ready. I'm Barbara
Yes.
Grant, one of your hosts, and we
And
have
I'm Jackie Abrams. I am with
who you with?
Samson Properties.
Are you still with
I
Samson
am a real
Properties?
estate agent with Samson Properties. Yes,
Wonderful.
I am. Yes, I am. Of course. Who else would I be with? Samson Properties.
Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes we get a little. What is a little?
No,
No,
that's not me.
that's not
That's
you.
not me.
That's not you.
When
And
I
I'm with
find
Cardinal
it, I
Financial.
stick with it.
I didn't mention where I was from, so you forgot to mention where you was from. I'm with Cardinal Financial. But thank you and coming back again, being with us today. The last time we left off, we were talking about the mortgage process, and we're going to continue talking about the mortgage process today. But first, let me give you a couple of emails. If you would like to be part of the audience, please go to Home Buying Audience at gmail.com. Send Jackie and I an email, and we'll be
Yes.
glad to invite you so you can be part of a live studio audience. If you have some questions after the show, or you just want to get some knowledge from us, and you would just like to send us something, please send us an email at homebuyingquestions at gmail.com. And Jackie or I will get back to you, and we will answer your questions. So right after this commercial break, we're going to come right back in, and we're going to give you a recap and start again with the home buying process.
Yes.
It is key that you mind your mental health.
Hey guys, how's everyone doing this week? Hi.
Use the 5 keys to mental
Well, this week
movement.
has been a really monumental week for me. I realized that I was not being myself.
Reaching out.
Be positive attitude person self, like you guys know me to be. I was
Staying
listening to
upbeat.
teaching and get back to that happy, cheery self you guys of me.
This week's been kind of
Being
stressful
creative.
because of all of the workload that we have on online learning. So I've been trying to use different platforms and different websites to help ease my mind and ease my stress.
And what about you, Margaret?
Well, you guys know me. I just love to work with others and serve them.
Serving others.
Realize that when I serve others, my mind is off of myself.
That's right. And don't forget, self-care is key.
Self-care.
All right. So see you guys next week.
Right.
Bye.
Your mind matters.
Hello and welcome back. As you know, I'm Jackie Abrams, and we have Barbara Grant Proctor here, and we are going to review the pre-approval process. The last time that we had it, that we presented to you, we looked at things, for example, the collecting the documents. You may remember that, collecting the documents.
Yes, what documents we collect in
That's
the
right.
pre-approval process.
And
yes.
also analyzing the initial documents.
And that's very important.
Yes, very,
and I have to
very.
analyze those documents to see if I can even get an approval.
That's right.
Right?
That's
Okay.
right. That's right. And then the pre-approval letter, which everybody knows we need that because that has to go along with each and every offer. And what I love about the pre-approval letter that Barbara gives is it gives lots of great information. And so we'll talk about that. Oh, that's
And also, Jackie won't take you out unless you have
oh,
the
that's
pre-approval
right.
letter.
Oh, definitely. I call that a waste of time, and I don't like to waste anyone's time. So yes,
Absolutely,
that's right.
absolutely.
And also the receipt of the ratified contract. That's what everybody wants to get, the ratified contract.
and getting that ratified contract depends on that pre-approval letter. And I went over last time on the pre-qualification letter and the pre-approval letter, right? I went
Yes.
over that last time. So what sellers and sellers realtors want to see, they want to see a pre-approval letter. So what I generate, and I'll just go over it real quick for those of you that didn't get a chance to see last week and want to go back and refresh your memory, just to make sure, because it's so important. The pre-approval document tells the seller and the seller's realtor
Yes.
that your documents have been looked at, that I have looked at your financial statements,
That's
I have
right.
looked at your credit, I have looked at your assets. It tells them that I looked at all of that. And the way I do that is by automatically running a pre-approval in Fannie and Freddie or in the government system for FHA if need be, or for GUS if you're doing USDA. And we're gonna talk a lot more about
right.
USDA probably on another show because a
That's
lot
right.
of people don't
Definitely.
deal with USDA.
That's
We
right.
love USDA,
Yes,
don't we? Love
we
USDA?
do.
We love USDA. But anyway, getting that automatic underwriting approval from the system that tells our underwriters that all my upfront work has been done. You are approved. They just need to see the documents now that shows that I input what you gave me, and therefore you're already approved. Now,
Yes.
do some things come out in the wash?
Sometimes.
Yeah, some things come out. Some things come out in the wash. And one of the things that Jackie said when she was doing the real estate process was she tells the clients up front, do not go buy anything.
Yes, that's right. That's
Right?
right. That's
Because
right.
even though I've pulled your credit maybe 30 days prior, if you feel like, oh, well, okay, they've already pulled my credit, they got everything, I'm going to go out and I'm going to buy something now, and it's going to be okay. No,
No,
because
it
a
is
soft pull is
not.
done. Yeah, I had a client just recently just do that, and they went and got this installment loan for almost $700.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
how do you do that?
Did that throw off their debt to income ratio?
Very much so, Jackie.
DTI?
Very much so, Jackie. And even though I know, they knew not to do this, but sometimes people think they're a little bit, more advanced than what we might be, but we tell people these things.
More advanced than what we might
Yeah,
be.
I didn't want to say.
I like the way you said
Did
that.
you like the way I
Barbara.
said that,
did.
Jackie?
Yes, that was
Okay, I wanted to make
very-
sure,
yeah.
as an educator, and you
Yes.
being an educator, I wanted to make sure I was saying that correctly.
I loved
so
it.
Some people, believe that I'm a little bit more knowledgeable than they are, and I'm going to always try to trick the system.
Yes, that's it. Try to trick the system. We've had some clients who tried to trick the system, and in the end, who got tricked?
We didn't.
We didn't.
We said we told you not
That's
to do
right,
that.
that's right.
And then sometimes what happens then, I got to jump through hoops trying to correct the situation.
That's right.
Because I'm not saying that I won't try to correct the
Oh
situation.
no, she
'cause I'm
definitely
always-
jumps through hoops. She jumps
Yeah.
through hoops, and then sometimes, Barb, we also have to say some people forget.
Some people forget.
Some people
Some people
forget.
actually
I
forget.
was actually a victim of my own forgetfulness back in 2015.
In 2015.
I was.
Okay. See,
I was. I have to
truth.
say that. I have to say that. Is it okay to tell this
it's
little
all
quick
right
story?
to tell the story. Tell the story.
Okay, this is a
Yes.
quick little story here.
Yes.
I happened to go into Kohl's, my very first time going into Kohl's. They had a sale. I just happened to be in wherever they were located in this little mall. I go into Kohl's, and somebody tells me if you open up an account, you can get so much more off on your purchases. I'm like, okay, great. I was in the loan process. I did that. It's embarrassing to say, but I did it. However, the other part was that I had a wide margin.
Okay.
So it didn't even affect me. They actually didn't even say anything. But I learned later
that it could have affected you.
that it could have affected me. It definitely could have affected me grossly. Okay. And so that's whenever I run into a situation that either I've had myself, because I have had some, or that other clients have had, I always use that as a story with clients. Because if I just say, don't add any more debt to your DTI, your debt to income ratio, don't open up any accounts, they hear that, but it goes kind of in one ear and out of the
Right,
other.
right.
But if I have a little story like that of how it impacts you, I think that really impresses them more. They remember that, oh, that's right, Jackie said that. Oh, that's right, I remember she did that. So it kind of has more of an impact if it's a real story or a real example
Absolutely.
of how it happened to someone
Absolutely.
else.
Absolutely.
So I am the queen of using examples, mostly of other clients, and I don't use names or anything like that. But it usually, and I can't say always, Barbara, can I?
No, can't
No,
say
can't say
always,
always, but it usually does help the clients not to make a mistake.
A mistake like
but
that.
when it does happen, as Barbara just said, She's able to jump through hoops.
Not all the time. Sometimes.
Sometimes. That's right. Okay, you're right. You're right. But there are ways to, I call them workarounds, and sometimes we can work around it and still make it happen.
Right.
Unfortunately, what is impacted is the timeline.
Oh, yes.
The timeline is impacted.
Remember that
And you know,
timeline.
I love timelines. I have to keep everything
Told
on the
you all about those
timeline
timelines, yes.
because in real estate, time is of the essence.
Yes.
And that's a term that means when you have a date to get something done, you should get it done on that date or prior to that date. If not, you're going to be out of contract many times. And that means going into something else, asking for an extension, hoping that the seller will allow that. And so I like to tell my clients, if you don't have to ask for an extension, the ball is in your court.
Yes.
But as soon as you have to get an extension, the ball goes back into the seller's court.
Yes.
Now, of course, most of the time we hope that the seller still wants to sell this property as we've all agreed upon. But I have had a situation, this was pretty early in my career, where the seller changed his mind,
Yes.
but did not let any of us know. His realtor even said she didn't know. So when we had to get an extension, we waited about 3 weeks. She said, oh, he'll sign it, no problem. We waited about 3 weeks, right up until the point where we really did need it. And I received an email saying that your client is out of contract.
Wow.
He literally waited until the day that it was out of contract.
In order to
Received
do
an
that.
email. However, my client did not lose his EMD.
Of course.
But something changed in the life of that seller. Now, I have no idea what that was. I didn't know the seller. But so that's what I also tell my clients. You never know what's happening on the other side. You think, okay, he or she wants to sell this property,
Right.
but things happen, you know, and you don't know. So when you put that ball back into that seller's court, you're taking a risk.
Right. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. So you got to remember the timelines. And we talked about that early on. Jackie sends out her timelines to all of us.
Yes, I do.
I'm even included on her timeline. So, but but really, it's all good. It keeps everybody in tune with what's going on, except the times that certain things may happen. And so, when we give that seller, that approval and that automatic underwrite approval, and that's telling me that right there, that day, that time, everything about you is 100%.
Yes. And I really think that that process that your company uses, that you and your company use, Barbara, helps my clients to get the contract many
Yes.
times. Because
they love to
sometimes
see that.
they do. Sometimes contracts or offers rather go in with what's called a pre-qualification. It doesn't really mean, that's what we've heard, real estate agents have heard, it's no more valuable than the paper is written on, is how it was
Absolutely.
first said to me as a real estate agent. And so once I know that Barbara's system has gone through everything, I'm able to relate that to the seller's agent. And I relate that in this little paragraph that I send to them, telling them lots of good things about my client, lots of good things about Barbara's company and how she does things, and a few other things. Is it okay if I say this now,
That's
Barbara?
You're fine. You're fine.
In addition to the way that her company uses the automated underwriting system, they also fund their own loans.
Yes, we fund our own loans.
And that's, I
we
didn't
do
know
our
anything
own
about
underwriting.
that.
We do our own processing.
Yes.
Which is good.
In-house
Everything's in-house.
processing. Yes.
Everything is
Yes,
in-house.
yes,
Nothing
yes.
is third party. Everything is in-house.
That's right.
That's why I love about my company too, because I've worked with a lot of companies that had third party processing or third party underwriting, and you're at the you're waiting on them. And
Yes.
sometimes they don't respond to you in a timely manner.
That's
but
right.
our in-house processing and underwriting, we have them right at our fingertips. So Jackie and I are always aware of where our loan is, and if something's going wrong with the loan, if something that we need, Jackie is made aware. So we know that.
Yes,
We know that,
and
that's
I
what like about it.
actually had, maybe it was my very first transaction that I did with you, Barbara, and you were with another company that did
Oh,
not
yes.
have the in-house processors, or they did not fund their own loans, and it was, I don't want to say the word nightmare, but
It was long.
It was.
It was long.
Yeah, it was. It was long. It was long.
It was long.
And Barbara made a personal decision.
I did after that.
Based on something that happened with one of my clients' loans, and you know, when you look back on decisions that you make, you know, sometimes you make a decision, you're thinking, okay, I'm praying that this is going to be the right decision.
Right.
And Barbara never looked back. It was the best
That was
decision
over 3 years ago.
ever. Yes, it was.
That was over 3 years
ever.
ago.
Yes,
over
it was.
3 years ago, because if you're only as good as the people behind you make you look, right? So because our business is basically referrals.
Oh yes.
You know,
Oh,
well,
yes.
I'm going to say my business. I know Jackie does some marketing, but I've always believed in the referral system, because the referral system, people are giving you the experiences that they had. And I get a lot of my business from referrals. So I'm very proud of
Yes.
the referral system that I have. You know, people call me maybe from a year ago. Oh, I'm such and such. I'm the cousin of da-da-da-da-da. You did such and such loan. And okay. Oh, wonderful. You know, and so I love referrals. So if I have a background, or you know, my team, administration team, that is, you know, unresponsive to me or not doing their job, then it makes me look bad.
That's right.
So
I'm sure you've heard that the best compliment
is a referral.
is a referral.
Yes.
That is the best compliment someone in our business could ever receive.
Is a referral.
So yes. So
Yes.
Yep.
And so I love that. I love my referrals.
Yes.
So okay, so last week we went through all of those, and I think we left at appraisals and titles being ordered, and we talked about what was on the title, what you can expect, and why you should get certain things when it comes to the title. So we're really not going to go back over all of that, because I do want to spend the rest of the time getting through the mortgage process, because our next show, we're going to have our first guest, and we are so excited. We are so excited. We're going to bring, I know I'm leaving this for a second because I'm excited, because I love this guest. We're bringing an inspector in, a home inspector
Yes.
in. And, you know, I know many people are going to have questions. You know, we're going to have our studio audience here. We're going to open it up, and hopefully people will have questions for the inspector, because they are inspecting your home.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
and this gentleman here that we have used on, you know, you have to send so many inspectors to the clients.
Yes, and I do always 3, because I've worked
Always
with
send 3.
with probably about 5 different companies, but I've chosen my top 3. I send it out to the clients, and they are able to choose whichever one they want. But I also let them know about this particular person,
inspector,
because of the way that he sets up his business.
Yes.
And so if we have a short timeline, we need to get this offer in ASAP. I'm actually able to go on this inspector's calendar,
Yes.
and look to see that if we get this offer in on Monday, and let's say they make a decision Wednesday or Thursday, I can literally schedule him for Friday.
Yep.
And so I can say, would you please pencil me in?
Yep. Because then you know up
Yes.
front, at the beginning, right after the ratified contract,
That's right.
what's wrong with the home.
That's right.
And if you
That's
want to,
right.
number 1, proceed, or number 2, ask for repairs.
Yes, that's right. And the seller and agent, they love that, because if we decide if my client decides that they do not want to remain
Well, it
in
is
the,
we,
in the
you and your
contract,
client.
well,
You know, you have to give your client
yes,
the
and I
pros and the
do,
cons,
and I do,
right?
I do, yes, and I always do that. And so if it's decided that they do not want to remain in the contract, then the seller literally knows within a day or 2
Right.
of that contract being ratified, instead of it being usually I will say 10 days, up to 10 days
Yeah.
for us to get back. That's just in case something happens. More recently, because it's been a crazy market, I've said 7 days. And I think this last one that it's going to close in prayerfully a few days. I actually put 5 days on there, but I already knew that we were going to have that home inspected 2 days after it was ratified.
After it was ratified.
So
Yeah,
it's
that's
a
good
wonderful
thing.
thing. It's a wonderful
So
thing.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure there's going to be a lot of good questions.
Oh, I
for
hope
the
so.
home
I
inspector,
hope so. You can
because
learn so much
it's so
from this
thorough,
inspector.
like
He
everything that you know that the inspectors have to do
Yes.
to go
the
through your
inspectors
house.
should do.
That- okay,
Inspectors
I like that.
should do.
Because
Yeah.
I've seen some inspectors and their reports, and I'm going, Well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
But
We-
that's neither here nor there.
this
It's
is-
up to the client to say yes.
It is.
I want an inspection.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. It is up to the client.
It's up to the client, but you give your advice.
That's right. And in the market that we're probably still in, but it's kind of cooling off a bit. But the market within the last, I'll go ahead and say 12 months, many clients wanted a contract or a home so badly that they declined to
the
even
inspection.
do a home inspection. And I understand, you want this home, it's the perfect price, it's the perfect location, it has all of the amenities that you want. But who wants to get in a home and then find out, 30 days in that literally the roof is about to cave in on you? Okay?
Absolutely.
If you know in advance that the roof is about to cave in on you, the sellers aren't going to fix the roof.
Right.
That's okay. You can plan for that. Okay. And so that's why I really strongly advise my clients to always get the inspection, even if the homeowner is not going to make any repairs.
Yep.
So that they're going in, as I say, with their eyes wide open.
Yes. So it's very important. But again, it's up to you with a little nudge and advice, from Jackie. Sometimes I've even gotten calls like, Barbara, what do you think? Because reality is I don't really need the inspection. I don't
right.
need an
That's
inspection.
right.
But
That's all
what
about the
I
client.
do, if we get the inspection and after a conversation with Jackie and the client, when we order the appraisal, if they tell me to include it with the ordering of the appraisal, I will. Because then what happens is the appraiser gets to see the inspection, and the appraiser gets to check things that, not saying that they normally wouldn't check,
Right.
but they may go a little bit more in depth, and they may come back and say the appraisal would not be approved until this part is done.
That's right.
Sometimes that helps.
And I think that specifically, if I remember correctly, that may happen with USDA.
It can happen with USDA, but it can happen with any loan that you're getting, because sometimes that may help, because if the seller or the buyer doesn't want to do any repairs, if the appraisal comes back saying that repairs have to be done because appraisal is held onto that house for a certain amount of time. If the appraisal comes back and appraiser comes back and says, well, I can approve this home, this appraisal if these repairs are done, then more than likely the seller's agent will tell the seller to possibly get the repairs done,
Right.
because this is going to happen on each contract that you get in the
That's
next
right.
few months.
That's right.
So it just depends on what it is.
Yes.
Now, I
If
bet
they're
a lot of
safety
people
related, if
I
they're
bet a lot of
safety
people didn't know
related.
that though, Jackie.
Yeah.
A lot of people, but you heard it first here, and you could say it. But we're going to go to another break, and when we come back, we're going to continue with the mortgage process. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We will.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tania McQueen. I'm the Residential Services Manager for Prestige Community Resources. What our new facilities are respite centers. We're opening 2 in the city right now. Hopefully we'll expand to more. But respite centers are a place where people can come and get a little additional support with their mental health. Our one on Eastern Avenue is for men, and our one on Minnesota Avenue is for women. Our facilities are for all DC residents, especially focusing in on those in Ward 7 and 8. So they're really nice, and I'm excited for consumers to actually see them. What are the services that we're going to provide? Therapy, case management, medication management, all provided by professional staff, a licensed nurse practitioner, psychiatrists, sociologists, social workers, and then our paraprofessionals, our case managers. It's just a place where you can come and get the supports that you need to work on your personal goals, as well as to get your mental health straight. Simple, single adult, 18 years of age or older, a DC resident. You need to have insurance, but if you don't have it, it's okay. Still come, we'll work on getting you insurance. Have to have a negative COVID test, a negative TB test, and be willing to work on your mental health. For more information about respite services, you can contact us at 202-796-3688. 5,000, or hit us up on our website at www.prestigecommunityresources.org.
Okay, welcome back. We were just talking about a special guest that we're going to have and the appraisal process, the home inspection. Just a little teaser on that, wouldn't you say, Barbara?
Right, because we kind of
just a
covered it
little
last
teaser,
week.
Yes.
With the title being ordered and the appraisal. And so now moving on to the next step. So now we've ordered the title, we've ordered the appraisal, the inspection has already been done. Okay.
Yeah.
Now this is all, in the upfront, like the first week that we've actually received the ratified contract.
right.
We're
That's
trying to
right.
do this because I'm trying to stay on Jackie's timeline. So
She does such a good job with that.
I
you may
try.
remember me saying before that when I first sent Barbara the timeline, I did not know that she had her own company's timeline, and she never told me that. I believe I found out on this show. So years later, she lets me know, Jackie, I really don't need your timeline. I'm just going along with you.
I have the mortgage process timeline, my mortgage process. But we always discuss that up front, what this looks like, especially when we're using down payment assistance
yes.
programs. We have to discuss the timelines up front with that. But if you're not using down payment assistance, we're 30 days and under.
Right.
I've closed loans in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So if any of you out there watching that know that, you can call in or you can be a guest on our show. You can tell how I closed the loans in 2-3 weeks.
All right.
Not a problem. It's not a
That's
problem.
right.
I even, and I'm just going to say this to you, but I'm not going to tell you how.
You're not.
In a purchase and a refinance, I've even got the appraisal waived. Oh, how good can that be?
Oh my gosh.
How good can that be?
My
Yes, but
gosh.
I'm not going to tell you how. That's me.
I don't even think I know how.
That's a Barbara thing,
All
okay?
right now.
There might be some
All
other
right
people
now.
out there that know, but that's okay. But if you're listening to us, I'm letting you know right here and now.
And that's a savings of what?
Like $500 to $600. Yeah.
Hello.
And it saves 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks in the process. Right? Because you don't have to get an appraisal. Because appraisal, you got to order
And that's
it, then you got to
refi.
wait.
That's refi.
Or purchase. I've done it on a purchase too.
Okay, Barbara.
So, yeah, I've done it on purchase too. So, okay, I pat my own self on the back on that.
Thank you.
I just pat my own self.
I'm sweating over here now.
Pat my own self on the back on that. But anyway, stop it, Jackie. Let's move on to the underwriting. So now the contract is in.
Yes.
I now will come back and ask you I'll go in deep on your documents that I need. Because normally I'll ask you for your last 30 days worth of pay stubs. I'll ask you 30 days worth of banking. Depending on what's in your account, I may ask you, are you going to use a 401k? So I may have asked you that. But now I'll go a little bit.
Student loan docs.
Student loans, if you're with your student. I'll see that on the credit.
Right.
And so I'll make sure, even before you're approved, that the student loan are added into your approval, added or not added into your approval. So there's a couple of things with student loans. So maybe when we do a show with DPAs, we could talk about student loans. We could talk about all those things because I could actually go in
We
on
might have
student
a whole
loans right
show.
now.
We might
Yeah,
have a
so
whole
we could
show on
just
that. We
might just wait on that. But I'll look at those documents to see how much I will have to add, towards your debt to income ratios. So now I'm asking you for more in-depth docs because I've already seen your credit, so I know what your credit looks like. I've already seen your most recent pay stub, so I know your year to date. So I've already received that. I've looked at your last banking statement, so I know how much money you have saved or you have not been able to save. But I've also had the conversation with you, okay, so from this time to this time, how much more will you save that you will need for closing? This is what it looks like. This is what it may be. Are you getting a gift from someone? What does this look like? So I will have already had that conversation with you. So now I'm going to ask you, okay, are you getting a gift? You said you were getting a gift. Now here are the documents. I need the person that's getting the gift. This is what I need from them.
Can we
This
tell
is
them when
signature.
you say gift exactly what you mean?
Well,
by that?
sometimes, especially first-time home buyers, parents may be helping their children buy a first-time home, or a father may just be helping a daughter on their first-time home buy, or a son on their first-time home buying, and they want to give a gift towards the closing costs. So they may be giving $5,000, sometimes $10,000. They could have saved up for this, however how
That's
that
right.
comes along. So if you tell me up front, I am getting a gift, yes, I know how much it is, but now I'm going to send you the documents that is required and needed for you to get filled out from your parent or your loved one. It has to be a relative. It cannot be a friend.
And why does it have to be a gift? That word gift. It
Well,
means something
it's supposed
special.
to. It's exactly what it is. It's a
Yes.
gift. It's a gift of closing, meaning it's not a loan. You don't have to pay it back.
You've agreed not to pay.
You've
it back.
agreed to pay. Yeah, you've agreed not to pay it back, and you don't have to pay it back. If you agree, you don't have to pay it back.
Right.
And you're signing documentation to that.
That's
so,
right,
and another
exactly.
reason why they say relatives, not friends, or associates or what, it's relatives, because 9 times out of 10, your relatives are giving you a gift. They are giving you the gift. Now, I ain't got nothing to do with that. You tell me you're getting a gift, your relative signs off that you do not have to pay that back. That's the information that we have. And that's the document that is signed and that goes into your file.
And is that because if they had to pay it back and it wasn't considered a gift, that would go into their debt to income ratio?
It would go into their debt to income
Debt,
ratio,
yeah.
and it's no longer a gift.
Right.
You have to have the money. I don't
That's
know where
right.
you're getting the money
Exactly.
from, but you have to have the
That's
money.
right.
But you can't take out a loan for the money.
That's right, exactly.
But you can take out a 401k, right?
take it if you have money.
If you
in
have
your
money in your 401k
yes.
and your pension, or you have stocks, or you're liquidating some account, you can use all of those. Now, you don't have to have it liquidated at the time that we are actually doing the approval process, but once I start collecting all your once I start collecting all your documents at that time, I will tell you to go ahead and start liquidating the account that you're going to use to help you with down payment and closing. Because sometimes, it may take a week. Sometimes it may take 30 days.
Yes.
It just depends on your employer or what type of account that you have. So even at the beginning of our conversations, before I'm actually pre-approving you, I kind of like to know that information as well, so I can give you a time frame of when you should actually go and start liquidating that account in order to have for your closing, because we want to make sure that you have the money in your account, the 401k, stocks or mutual funds, or liquidated, and this money is in your account, because at the end, right before closing, I'll ask you for proof that it's in your account, and I'll also ask you for proof of the document showing that you actually liquidated from that account and what the final balance is. So we're going to need all those documents within that 30-day period. So the beginning conversations will let me know upfront what I need to get from you. So at this time, before I send it to initial underwriting, or the processor sends the initial underwriting, I'm collecting all these more in-depth documents from you, because now probably a week or 2 weeks or a month has passed since you went out and looked for a house. I need your latest 30-day bank statements. I need your latest 2 months now of bank statements. I'm going to ask you for 2 months now. So I probably use the bank statement you gave me and then the new bank statement. This is to make sure you haven't spent the money that you tell me that you have in the account. So all your T's have to be crossed and all your I's have to be dotted when it comes to the finances that you are using when purchasing your home. So we have to make sure that, certain withdrawals are not coming out of your account. I mean, if you get a deposit more than $5,000, I have to question it. I have to look at a paper trail. If you get a withdrawal,
A paper trail meaning tracking it. Is that
track
what
it,
you
yeah,
mean? Where
paper
did it
trail.
come from?
Where the $5,000 came from, absolutely. How did you get that $5,000? And now if it says on there from another account, now I got to find out whose account that is. Is that another account of yours? And then I need to see 2 bank statements of that. So it's a lot that goes into this.
Yes, it is. I'm just laughing, Barbara, just because we just had a situation where that was something like that
Absolutely.
came up, and it delayed things a bit.
It delayed things,
It
but we
did,
get around it.
We did.
We figured out how to get around it, didn't we,
Hello,
Jackie?
We did.
Figured out.
Barbara's the lady. She is.
And we kept moving forward.
Hello, we
Right?
did.
Kept moving. We're about to close. So
And
we're
we're
happy
about
for,
to close.
We're happy for them. So we were able to get past that. And that's the other thing. I try to tell the clients, if you don't tell me what's going on, I can't help you.
That's right.
If you tell me what's happening, it gives me time to figure out how to mitigate the risk.
That's right. That's
How to
right.
mitigate it.
And
Everybody's
if you
not
don't tell
perfect.
her, no, that's right. But if you don't give her enough time, meaning tell her early, tell her as soon as it happens
What's going on, what
what's
you're
going
doing.
on, what you're trying to do, then in the end, she's scrambling, she's trying to figure it all out, and so time again is of the essence.
It's of the
so
essence.
that's a time where the more time she has, the better the situation can work out.
The better the
without
situation
the
can work out.
stress,
Right.
Because it becomes
Yes.
stressful, of course, because Barbara wants to get it done, and so she's a little stressed because of it. Of course, you're stressed because this is your transaction, your home, you're hoping to move into in a few days, and now here we have to have an extension.
We have something that we have to do
Yeah, we
to
have
jump
to work.
over some hoops
That's
or
right.
something we have to prove.
That's right.
Because it really, it's not a matter of you did something wrong. It's a matter of you did not know that you were doing something that cannot be used in the mortgage process. That's how I would like to say
Even
it.
if you were told, you didn't know.
Even if you were told you didn't know. So I try to mitigate as many risks up front by telling you certain things with your bank accounts, what you can do and what you can't do, because we're constantly checking your bank accounts. If it takes a month for you to find a house, you've already given me one bank account. Then when you find the house, I'm gonna need the next bank account. And then that
The
30
statement,
days,
the statement from those accounts.
the statement from that account. Thank you, Jackie. The statement from that account. Then the following 30 days, while we're going through the process, I need either that statement or transactional history up to the day that you close. So no matter what it is that you think you can do or that you try to do, you have to let me know, and then I can mitigate the risk by saying, no, don't do this until this time, or no, don't do this till you close, or no, do it this way. And it's not that you're doing anything wrong, it's just that you did not know how to do it. And that's where it comes to, sometimes our clients think that, oh, this is not,
That's right.
we're
It's no
gonna
big
move
deal.
this
No
over
big
here.
deal.
We're gonna move this over
doesn't
here,
matter.
and then I'm gonna move it over here to this account, and then I'm gonna move it back to this account, and now I got 5 or 6 accounts. Now I'm going, well, what'd you do with the money? Well, I transferred it over to this account because this account had money. Okay, but then what did you do with that? Well, then it went back to that account. So I try to mitigate
I
that
love that you're
risk.
saying mitigate the risk.
Mitigate
to
the
me,
risk.
that means it's always going to be a risk, but when you mitigate something, you try to lessen the risk.
I try to lessen the
Yes,
risk.
yes.
Right. So you don't move money, you don't touch money. If you're adding money towards your closing, situations come up, emergencies come up. Let me know.
That's
I don't
right.
need to know
I was
what your
about to
emergency is, but if you have an emergency, let me know how much this emergency is going to cost, and then tell me how it's going to be put back in, because then that way I know by the time we go to closing, when you send that final transaction report or statement, that money has been put back into your account. And sometimes we may have to do what's called a LOE, a letter of explanation, if somewhere during that process, let's just say it was $5,000, where we have to prove that money. A letter of explanation explaining that and showing the money leaving, showing the money coming back in, and we finalize that with a letter to the underwriter, and that goes into your file. Now, you must remember, this is not a mortgage company guidelines. These are guidelines from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Good point.
These are the
Good
people
point.
that back the mortgages. And then if you have any type of government loan, VA, USDA, FHA, if you have any type of government loans, a down payment assistance, a local state loan, they require these things in their file because they want to make sure that you're not a risk. So it's not, why are you, the underwriter asking me for all of this stuff? Why are they? We get that a lot.
We do.
Why is the underwriter asking for all of these things? It's nothing personal. It's nothing personal.
Well, when you say personal, as you know, I like to say, if you
I send them back to
find
Jackie.
someone who's going to give you whatever it is, $300,000, $400,000 to be able to purchase your home as a loan, and you can find that they're going to just give it to you without you having to jump through any hoops, without you having to submit any documents, just free and clear. Please let me know. Let me know who
I
they
want that
are,
loan.
okay?
Because I want that loan,
Yeah,
Jackie.
that's right. Hello.
Maybe you got a rich uncle. I can just loan it to you. I want that uncle. I want that uncle too. But it's nothing personal,
Right.
and I'm telling these things not to scare anybody that may be watching this and someone going, I can feel somebody going, whoo, that's a whole lot. Whoo, we got, but it really isn't. Let me just, okay, I'm going to take my mortgage hat off for just a second.
And you're going to be Barbara?
I'm going to be finance Barbara.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I'm going to be
Okay.
Barbara,
All right.
finance
Okay.
Barbara,
Okay,
right?
all right.
And I'm just take my mortgage hat off for a second. If all of your finances or your financial structure is in place, whether you're a W-2 employee, whether you're self-employed, whether you're a 1099, okay, as long as everything is in order, these things that Jackie and I are discussing right now is not going to happen. There are a whole lot of people that every day, sunny day scenario, bank statements are accurate, they save their money every month, W-2s are okay, their taxes are okay, everything is okay, and it's working towards their good. So financially, even before you set out to even purchase a home, you want to check your credit. And we went over this in the credit episode. You want to make sure your credit is correct. You want to see where your finances are. Are you going to need a down payment assistance program? Do you have somebody to give you a gift? Do you have a 401k that you can take a certain amount of money out? And not only that, you don't already have so many loans out already in your 401k. There's certain things that you as an individual should really check and look at yourself financially before coming to apply for a home. Now, if you need help with that, and let's just say you met Jackie and someone is saying, oh, I really like to buy a home, but I don't think my things are in order. At that point, Jackie will say, well, let me introduce you to a loan officer who can tell you some things you need to have in order to make sure your finances are correct. Now, I'm not pulling your credit. I'm not doing anything like that. She's just sending you to me, and I can ask these questions that you're hearing us talk about now, and I can say, do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have this? What are you going to do about this? And from the answers to your questions, I'm mitigating risk right there.
Already. That's
I'm
right.
telling you
are.
when to get
Totally.
yourself together, at what point you will be ready. Because we've had people come to us and then they realized, you know what, I don't make enough money. And then 6 months to a year later, they went out and got another job making double or triple of what they were making to afford the house that they want to afford. So it can happen. It can happen.
It does.
So it's just a matter of reaching out to somebody that is willing to hear your situation, know your situation, and be able to explain some things to you so that you will be ready. When you get ready to have that credit pulled and have your documents all in order, you'll be ready to go ahead and get that home. And there's not going to be any issues. Now, if you don't, and then you come to me, and then I start pulling and gathering information, then I'll have that conversation with you at that time.
Yes.
Prior to that, because some people just say, well, just pull my credit, just see. Okay, if you give me authorization to do that, I will go ahead and do that. And at that time, I will say, okay, well, you need this, you need this amount of money, this type of programs we have. So again, I can help mitigate the risk so that 6 months, 3 months, I'm gonna say 3 months, sometimes it may only take 3 months, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, whatever, how many months it is. Then you can come back and you can say, okay, Barbara and or Jackie and or Barbara, I'm ready.
Yes.
I'm ready to buy a home.
Yes.
So the first thing is getting rid of the fear.
Oh, yes.
Getting rid of the fear and stepping out there and not being worried about whether or not you can do it. Now, if you totally can't do it. I'm talking to the people that have some doubt because they're not sure and they've been paying rent for a long time, and you pay a lot in rent, and you have been doing a lot of things credit wise, and you may be able, you have a nice 401k because you got a nice job. but you just had the fear of stepping out there and taking the risk of purchasing a home.
And maybe you were the first one in your family, so you've never seen that happen before.
Absolutely, and that
so
happens a lot.
That builds up
That happens
fear
a lot.
automatically. I do have a quick question though, Barbara. You said if you get a new job, you know, what about if you get a part-time job to try to?
As long as the
to try to get some of
part-time
that money?
job is in the same field, we can use it. If not, you have to have had that part-time job for 2 years.
Yes.
For 2 years.
Yes.
So, you know, right now, you know, all of this is a part of underwriting. So we've talked about going into underwriting. So we're almost at the end of the mortgage process. We're getting ready to take another commercial break. After the commercial break, I'm going to try to wrap some things up for all of you to continue to try to mitigate the risk. Jackie and I can continue to talk about what we can do to help you, to get rid of the fear, and then we will be right back. So stay tuned.
My name is Emmerich Peace. I am a husband, a father, an entrepreneur, a businessman, a real estate sales consultant, a lover of life, and a giver of the community. What family means to me, it means togetherness, love, happiness, support, inspiration, providing, ensuring, securing, loving. Family is what I live for. The things that I do in my day-to-day life is to support my family first. And then I go and live my family because I work my hardest, I do my best, just not to bring work home. When I'm home, I'm home. And when I'm working, I'm working. And now since I don't have any kids at home, I'm koi ponding and I'm really having lots of fun because it's just my place of just happiness, my happy place, being home, no kids at home, just being able to enjoy my home with my wife.
Back to Mortgage Financing and Homebuyer Ready. I'm Jackie Abrams,
And I'm Barbara Grant Proctor.
and Barbara and I were just having a great discussion. Again, this is about the mortgage process.
The mortgage
And so Barbara was just going over how to mitigate the risk.
How to mitigate the risk
Mitigate
prior
the risk.
prior
Yes.
to initial underwriting.
That's
So now we've mitigated some of the risks, and you now will go into underwriting. And what happens is it's called initial underwriting. So you'll go into initial underwriting. Now remember, the appraisal was just ordered. The title was just ordered. Inspection ordered. So now you're going into underwriting, initial underwriting. So that means we don't have the appraisal, we don't have the title. We may not even have the inspection back at that time unless we do have it back and it was already given with the appraisal company. So when you go into initial underwriting, the underwriter takes a look at all the initial docs that I have submitted and look at your file and your credit, and then they come back with an approval. Now, I've already done an automatic approval. So I already know that the initial underwriter is going to come back with an approval because I've already done that. I've already checked in the system, make sure that I crossed every T, dot every I, issued it to Fannie Mae or to the government. They come back and they say, yes, this person is eligible. So then the underwriter will come back and say, yes, this person is eligible. Now, at this point, the underwriter now does a little bit more digging than what I could ever do. I could only do or know if you've already told me. But if you haven't already told me, the underwriter has access to systems, I'll say government systems, where they get information back. One, if a loan is defaulted and it's not on your credit report, you pay child support monthly and it's not on your credit report, but there is there's some type of judgment or something out on you. So the underwriter is able to go into a lot of these government systems and to see if you ever owned a home before, and not so much if anything happened with home, but if you're deeded to a home. So say you're a first-time home buyer and you're getting a first-time home credit, et cetera, and you have to have not been on a deed for 3 years to get that, but then something comes back and you're on a deed, you're still on a deed. So the underwriter at that point comes back with what's called conditional conditions. And so the processor then looks at that. I'm looking at it too, because I always go back and I follow my applicant's loan. A lot of times loan officers pass it off to the processor. They're moving on to get the next loan. I always stay in contact with my clients, and I'm always looking in the system to see what the clients need. And a lot of times I'm already asking them for things that I see that the underwriter is saying rejected or needed, and the processor just hasn't gotten to doing that formal letter to you stating, congratulations, you've been approved. These are some items that I needed.
May I say, Barbara? That's one of the things that I also like working, why I like working with Barbara, because she is very hands-on.
Love to be.
She is not into this automation. There are many banks, mortgage companies, maybe, definitely banks. It's an automated system. It's difficult to get someone on the phone if you have a question. They may have some type of a little chat thing where you can ask a question. You have to wait for that. You can pretty much pick up the phone, give Barbara a call. If she is busy with another client at that time, she will definitely respond, whether it's in an email or through a call. She will get back with you either way. And so that's one of the things that I especially like. Lots of people are used to having a human voice, working with a human being.
We all are.
Well, some people today, they're into the automated thing, you know, and they're okay with that. Yeah, they're okay with that. But if you aren't okay with that, Barbara is the person that you would definitely want to speak with, because it works. And we can get things done quicker, because sometimes, you have already heard us say, we get our clients on the phone. Barbara's at her office, I'm at my office, and we are talking to this client through a conference call, because we have to straighten some things out.
Yes.
And if you're not able to get that through your mortgage company or your bank, remember, Cardinal Financial does it that way. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Did she just plug me? I think she did. Thank you, Jackie. She's supposed to. I appreciate that. But yeah, so the underwriter will come back with some things, and the processor will put that general letter together for you. But like I said, sometimes I've already looked at it, what the underwriter notes are, and I've already just in a general email, I'm not doing anything formal. I'm texting you or emailing you, hey, do you have da-da-da-da? If so, send it to me and Danielle. So then by the time Danielle's email has come out, the processor. I gave her name.
Your processor.
I just plugged my processor. Okay. By the time her email has come out, yes. Then I'm chatting the processor and I'm telling her, okay, I've already asked for this, I've already asked for that, I've already asked for this. But sometimes she sees things that I can't see, or sometimes there's things that I don't really, when it comes to them underwriters digging deep, I'm like, what is this? I'm not sure what this is. And then she breaks it down to me in layman's terms. This is what this is. Don't worry about it. I got it. And that's just one of the things I love about Cardinal Financial and working with the people that I work with. So once we get the documents and we've gone back to you, we've asked you for the updates and what the underwriter has asked for, and sure, one of the things the underwriter is asking for is complete title, appraisal. We already know that. So once we get the appraisal and the title back, and then we've collected whatever documents we need from you, it's then resubmitted for final underwriting. So at that point, once we have everything, it's submitted for final underwriting. We have what's called a closing disclosure that goes out to you. Sometimes it goes out earlier in the process, sometimes in the middle, but definitely before final underwriting is complete, you'll get what's called the closing disclosure. And what that closing disclosure is, it just tells you all your final costs. By now, we've put the appraisal information in. We've put the title information in. So you know exactly what you're paying. Well, let me take that back. You don't know exactly what you're paying, because there are some costs that are done in the closing department. So let me just take that back. But you know more of what it is, closer to the amount that you're going to have to come to the table with. And that's called a closing disclosure. Not only that, by you signing that prior to 3 days before actually closing, it doesn't hem up the closing process. It used to be a time you went to the table, you signed, then you had to wait 3 days. Now this closing disclosure, as long as you agree with it, you sign it. We get to the table, you don't have to wait 3 days for purchase money to come. You don't have to wait for the 3 days. For refinances, no matter what, because you have a time to rescind that offer, you do have to wait for the 3 days, but you don't have to wait for the 3 days for you to say, go ahead, I approve this loan, I'm taking this loan. But the only thing is the 3 days that you wait for a refinance is because you still have that time to rescind that offer. So once all that's done and we get the final underwriting done and we get what's called a clear to close.
Ooh, the clear to close.
That's the happy dance.
Hello.
That's the happy dance notice. The clear to close. Because the seller's happy dancing, the seller's realtor is happy dancing. Jackie is definitely happy dancing.
I even
Because-
send my clients this funny little thing that
See?
lets them know
See?
we have the clear to close.
We have the clear to close. And her
a little-
timeline is
GIF.
met.
It's a little GIF, a GIF.
I know one of those little memes.
Yeah, meme,
The
right.
timeline line is met. You know, she got because once she knows, once we get to clear to close, it's about 24 hours before she's actually sitting at that table with the client. Now, it's 24 hours normally. If there is a down payment assistance program involved, it's 48 hours because those are extra papers that have to be done with the down payment assistance program. So then it's 48 hours. But we're not talking about down payment. We're just talking about
Just
regular FHA, conventional loans. It's 24 hours. Our closing team, the title company, they've gotten together, they figured out those final numbers, and then they send you out the final closing disclosure.
yes.
And once you get that, that is your number. There's no how do you say no backsies. There's no backsies.
No going back.
No going back. No back in the day. No backsies. And you get your final disclosure. And by that time, Jackie has set up a date with the title company.
Oh yes.
She set up the time for you to walk through your home.
We've already done the walkthrough by that time.
By the time you get the final disclosure, you do.
Oh,
When you
yes.
get the clear to close, you just go ahead and do the. Okay, she does the walkthrough because a lot of people wait until the day of closing. Jackie does it.
It's already in the timeline
Yeah,
when we're
that's
going
right.
to
She
do
goes
it.
a day
and
or
then we're
two.
able
That
to
timeline.
yeah,
It's that
yeah,
timeline
yeah.
again.
We can kind of figure that
She
out.
don't wait till that
but I
day.
like for clients to know in advance that this is going to happen.
That is happening.
Yeah, so they already know
So
about
we're doing
it.
that walkthrough.
That's right, doing that walkthrough.
And the sellers, they like to know.
Yes.
Yeah, they did that walkthrough. That means it's
Oh,
really
yes, that's
happening.
right.
There's no backsies.
Exactly. That's
and
right.
that they're really that's really happening. So you get the clear close, you get the date and the time, you're to show up at the title company, and from there, you are considered a new homeowner, right, Jackie?
Hello.
You're considered a new homeowner, and that's when Jackie takes her little pictures and
Hold
all
on,
that.
hold on, don't tell them everything now.
Oh.
Don't tell them everything.
She does a whole lot.
I do.
That's why I love her. She does a whole.
It's
she
a
does a whole lot.
celebration.
Yeah, it's a celebration.
Let's just say that. It's
She
a
does the things I
celebration.
can't do.
Yeah, it's not just you signed
Right.
your papers,
Right.
have a good life. No,
Right.
not with me.
Yep.
And then I even do a celebration a year later.
She does a celebration on your birthday.
congratulate
She
you
handles all
on
it.
your-
Yeah.
on
Then
your
she sends that
house-versary.
picture when you signed and all of that good stuff. That's what I love about her because she handles all of that. And so we've come to the end of talking about the mortgage process. Again next week we're going to have the
Home inspector.
Home inspector
our
come in.
First special guest.
Our first special
Actually,
guest.
we've had one guest before. But
She
this
sat
is
in for me.
This is a service
Yeah, she sat in for me.
provider guest. So this is a whole different category. And
whole
we will
different
have
category.
others down the road.
So get your questions ready
That's
for the
right.
home inspector because that's very, very, very important.
Yes.
So we are just so excited that we're able to come to you and to give you all of this wonderful information. Again, if you have any questions, we're homebuyingquestions@gmail.com. You want to be in the audience, we're homebuyingaudience@gmail.com because one thing that Jackie and I love to do, we want you to know your power to purchase.
That's right.
Right,
we want
Jackie?
you to understand
your power
to purchase. That's right.
Right?
That's
So that you can be
home buyer ready. Yes.
See you in 2.
Bye.